Welcome to Last Day's Awakening. It is February 1st, Thursday, February 1st. What's so interesting about this day? Well, I go on Medicare today, but you don't want to hear about that. I want to talk about the quickest way, the fastest way, the most direct route that can be taken that will get us to Armageddon. And I say us in the generic sense or as the corporate sense of the world, because you and I, as believers in Jesus Christ, will be at Armageddon. But we will be on the winning side. What's going on? Well, this is making the rounds around a lot of watchmen. I was notified on Telegram of a couple instances, as well as some of the feeds that I get. This was all blowing up today. And so I'm going to share screen. We'll do this quickly. Here we go. Look at this. This is the headline. U.S. actively pursuing establishment of independent Palestinian state. Now, you know, since October 7th, when Hamas broke a ceasefire, that propaganda has been spewed around the world, and it is now turning the tables against Israel. In other words, the propagandists, the liars, the deceivers have convinced the most weak-minded individuals possible that this is all Israel's doing, even to the point where, sadly, many believe that Israel instigated it themselves in order to put themselves in a war. I do not believe that. For one moment, do I believe that? Had I heard it before? Yes. Do I believe it? No. There is evil, and evil is attempting and trying to, as always, remove God's promised covenant people from the promised covenant land. He chose Abraham, and that Abrahamic covenant passed to Isaac and then to Jacob. It did not pass to Ishmael. The reason being, through Abraham and through that land would come the Messiah. The Messiah would come to defeat the enemy, and the eventual defeat will be when Lucifer, Satan, the devil, the dragon, is cast into the lake of fire forever and ever and ever. So what do? You destroy the covenants. He couldn't do it the first time. He couldn't do it through the Holocaust. What's he trying to do now? Divide the land and destroy the people of Israel. This is his purpose. This is what he does. This is how he does it. Now, here's another article. This is from the Times of Israel. Here's the headline, and I'll read just a portion of this. Biden developing new Middle East doctrine bent on forming Palestinian state, according to New York Times Friedman. U.S. President Joe Biden administration is homing in on a new doctrine. When was this a new doctrine? Since 2005, when George W. Bush forced Israel to remove themselves from the Gaza Strip in order to begin preparations for a two-state solution. That has been the policy. It was even, I'm going to say this, and some are going to get angry, but even the deal of the century, even the supposedly incredible peace deal and the Abraham Accords created by the son-in-law of President Trump brings about a two-state solution. I don't care what anybody says. If you read it, it is a two-state solution. So what do we have going on here? It's not a new doctrine, but the idea is to push immediately and advance the creation of a demilitarized but viable Palestinian state. In other words, the cries and the yells for ceasefire to make Israel stop destroying Hamas are louder than ever. The plan, Friedman writes, would involve some form of U.S. recognition of a demilitarized Palestinian state. I'm going to use a Greek term here, and pardon me for this. This is a well-known Greek term. Hogwash. There's no such thing as a demilitarized Palestinian state. It's always going to be militarized. In the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, that would come into being only once Palestinians had developed a set of defined, credible institutions and security capabilities to ensure that this state was viable and it could never threaten Israel. Once again, this is where the Greek comes in. An amazing term. You can use it. You can learn Greek easily. It's formed of two words, and the root word is hog. The root word is hogwash. Hogwash. So that's the root word. It's from the gutter. Okay, lest I get too crazy on that, understand that the two-state solution is going to happen. There will be a dividing of the land. And it's going to be a forced dividing of the land by covenant. And I believe the steps of that, and I've talked about it in videos before, so I'm not going to go into great detail. I believe the next step is the eruption of the greater war with Hezbollah and the world coming alive against Israel and causing a desperate situation where Iran is doing their thing. They are the most intrigue-baiting nation in the history of the world. They do intrigue. Intrigue is their thing. They use their octopus tentacles to formulate and use all of these destructive forces against Israel so that they supposedly are peaceful. And this is going to increase. This is going to increase, I believe, over the next month and a half. I'm not a prophet, but I believe February and March are going to be hellacious when it comes to events and the convergence of events, to the point where Israel is going to feel the desperate need, and they're going to strike out at some point. At some point, Isaiah 17 will be fulfilled, and Damascus will be destroyed. This is going to lead us to a peace agreement, according to kind of behind the scenes in Isaiah 17, in which Israel's going to have to, they're going to have to fold, they're going to have to bow the knee to this agreement, and they're going to have to come under the protection of this supposed agreement, which will allow them to build a temple. But that agreement is going to strip them of their strength, strip them of their glory, and bring them quite literally into a very bad situation. You can read that in Isaiah chapter 17. Even though Damascus will be destroyed, Israel is going to be in a desperate situation. And on the top of it all is going to come this one who will take control of the beast and then show himself in his true colors by coming into the temple at the halfway point of a 7-year period of time called the tribulation. We call it the tribulation. It's called Daniel's 70th week and Jacob's trouble. But it's going to lead someplace, and that place is Armageddon. Let me read this to you. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and at that time when I bring back the captives of Judah and Jerusalem, so it's when Israel's restored as a nation, I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. That is Jerusalem. That is just outside the walls of Jerusalem. And I will enter into judgment with them there on account of my people, my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. That's been the history. They have also divided up my land. They've cast lots over my people, or for my people, have given a boy as a payment for a harlot, have sold a girl for wine, that they may drink. Indeed, what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coastlands of Philistia? Will you retaliate against me? But if you retaliate against me swiftly and speedily, I will return your retaliation upon your own head, because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my prized possessions. The valley of Jehoshaphat. The valley of Jehoshaphat is where This battle of Armageddon will be concentrated. They will gather together in a place called Armageddon, which is in the plains of Jezreel, but then the march on Jerusalem will happen. What is going to bring that about? What is going to trigger that event? The dividing of the land, whenever that happens, is going to start the process and march toward Armageddon. Are we about to see the trigger towards Armageddon? Maybe, but I'm convinced of this. We are soon to fly away. No matter what Eric Metaxas says, there is a catching away. It is a rescue. It is when we will see our blessed hope, and our blessed hope is Jesus Christ himself. His soon appearing is what we're longing for. So stay strong. Stay true. Look up, your redemption is drawing near. Love you all. I'll have more. God bless.